Hello. I've never met Dante in person that I know of, that I know for certain, but there is one time that I suspect I met somebody who was more than this person might have appeared to be. When I was 4 or 5, from what I gather, a friend of my mother's family from Germany came to visit her. For what reason, I don't know. My mother passed away 4 years ago, so I can't ask her. But I've asked my father recently, and he didn't have an answer for me either. So I can only suspect. But when this person came to visit, again, supposedly for my mother, I seem to have commandeered this meeting, and I occupied all this person's time. I showed him my Star Wars coloring books, and the warmth that I felt from this person has resonated with me and stuck with me, you know, all these years, that I remembered some chance meeting, some chance encounter with a person that I never met, that I've never met again, when I was like 4 years old. And that meeting didn't feel like it was for my mother. The more that I think about it, I feel that it was a meeting that was more geared towards me. Anyhow, I found Dante's channel, his first YouTube channel, about 10 years ago. And in retrospect, it was probably one of the more difficult, if not most difficult, times in my life. There was a lot of, I was really self-destructive. I don't need to go into it, but finding him when I found him was paramount. And when that first channel disappeared, I was so sad. I felt lost again, and I spent a lot of time trying to find what happened to this channel, what happened to this person. And fortunately, I found the following channel. I forget if it was a Dante Centauri channel or an Azazel channel. I forget which came first, but I found it, or I was allowed to find it again. And then that channel changed into the group, and years down the road, here we are. I can't be more grateful for everything that we've been shown, everything that we've been taught, all the knowledge that we've received over the years. It's changed who I am. There was a time about, I guess it was a year ago, maybe last May or June 2017, Dante posted that something bad could potentially happen to him, and the thought of that was too much for me to bear. So I thought long and hard for a good couple of days, 2 or 3 days, what I could do about it. And we've never spoken on the phone, we never had a video chat, but we've exchanged many emails over the years. So I emailed him, and I offered my life instead. And these weren't just words. Like I said, I took a good 2 or 3 days thinking about this. And what I had to do was I had to mentally prepare myself to say goodbye to my wife, say goodbye to my 2 kids, say goodbye to my father. And that's really all that was important to me, was just being able to say goodbye to my immediate family. And so I offered that to him. He didn't need it, of course, but I can still access that if need be. because I would gladly give my life for him at any time, just as I would gladly give my life for any of my brothers and sisters in this group. The impact Dante and all of you have had on me over the years, words can't describe it, words can't do it justice. And it's an honor to share this time with all of you. My love for all of you runs so deep. I'm here till the end. Love you.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end of our elaborate plans. The end of everything that stands. The end. Safety or surprise, the end. I'll never look into your eyes again.
Yes, I do.
At least It's called vertigo. It's everything I wish I didn't know, except you give me something.
Yes.
I can feel your love teaching me how. I can feel your love teaching me how. I can
Ladies and gentlemen,
on the Lower East Side, 'cause he's got wheels, and we wanna go for a ride. You fucked it up. Bad. Okay, again. Okay, no, ready? I can't.
Il faut savoir que ceux qui nous observent de loin sont inquiets. J'ai vu et entendu et écouté plusieurs des dirigeants d'autres planètes. Ils sont très inquiets parce qu'ils s'interrogent sur la voie que l'Union européenne va poursuivre. Et donc, il faut rassurer et les Européens et ceux qui nous observent de plus loin.
Ok.
Today I got the best news ever. So that brings me back to 5-6 years ago. I felt really desperate. I remember laying in bed and asking the universe or God to help me, to help my son. I decided to send Dante an email, but he did not respond. But after that, all kind of magical things started happening. I remember one night I heard the most beautiful music, and only one time it happened. But I still remember it was very soft, well, very out of this world. So I can only describe it as angelic music. All kind of things started happening after that. I got visions, which I had never had. I had special dreams and more. And I was really attached to the channel, to the information. And also, like others, I couldn't wait to end my work and rush home to watch the videos. When I saw my name on the name video of the 72, I had no idea why. I didn't even believe back then that I was a hybrid. I tried all my life to fit in, to be normal, but I guess I never really belonged. I also had a big issue with trust. I trusted the information that Dante and the group and all the channels that always felt right. I knew that was correct, even if I didn't understand it at the time. But I had a really big issue trusting Dante for a long, long time. I do now. So I didn't even feel worthy that he was coming over to see me. But I'm so glad that he did. Because I can honestly say in the past year, he sort of gave me my life back. He gave me a purpose. He gave me the truth. And because of that truth, all the pieces fell into place. And I know that is true. So I understand now. I understand myself better. And yeah, he gave me a lot. He showed me what love was, what love is. He expanded my heart chakra, that's for sure. And he is one of the 2 people that I love most in this world. So, that was it. Thank you, family, and take care. Love you.
This is a cutaway drawing showing all of the floors with ladder access. In 1821, excavations inside the base exposed a skeleton and fragments of a light green urn, with a row of carving around the bottom of the neck. Below these were some flagstones, with many more human bones below, including 7 skulls, all male. These burials apparently predate the construction of the tower, but by how long is not certain. This is Kilmacduagh Round Tower, now leaning slightly, with its door 8 metres above ground level. Professor Barrow, in his book on Ireland's Round Towers, points out that the space between the doors and the base of most of the towers have been filled with dirt, sometimes as high as the door itself, although this idea is not universally accepted. Dr. Philip S. Callahan, in his book Ancient Mysteries, Modern Visions, discovered that all of these towers were made from diamagnetic rocks, like basalt, sandstone, limestone, granite and clay slate, which are closer to semiconductors than conductors. He believes that they attract 14-metre long waves from the cosmos to help fertilise the surrounding area. Most towers have their doors placed inconveniently some distance above the ground, and Dr. Callahan believes that this was to allow the base of the tower to be filled with earth or rubble, to fine-tune the resonant cavity of the tower into a specific frequency. He also has the interesting theory that in Ireland they were placed in patterns on the ground, mimicking some of the major constellations, bringing the sky down to earth, so to speak, like so many other ancient cultures did. A map of Dr. Callahan's Ireland with the towers placed as the constellations Draco, Ursa Major, Cephas, Cassiopeia, Camelopardalis in Lynx, with Climacus as the pole star. To the upper left of the picture is one of the 4 reared windows. To the right, the massive bell. Climbing a ladder onto the trapdoor on the roof. To this wonderful view. On the other side you can see several log holes which have been replaced by spacer stones. And the yew tree itself. To keep the fairies happy, I followed an ancient custom and placed a monetary offering into one of the cut marks and then crossed the road to take a film of Carnamarb, the cairn of the dead, which marks the sad resting place of most of the occupants of the village who died here during an outbreak of the bubonic plague around the year 1300. Just a few minutes later I was rewarded with this beautiful rainbow emitted from the church just 250 yards away.
Yeah, see, I was unable to get in here, but that's from the other side, and there you go. That's what it looks like. Bizarre. So this building has different types of doors. That's another door, and so at least one of these doors is inspired by perhaps something they saw in America. Or these are the Viracocha, the redheads. Irish, a very red-headed place. That's another Inca-like door. It's a little bit different. Actually, there are some Inca houses with doors just like this. They're just a long block going upwards, and then there's just this. This is a different type of door, looks medieval. You see, what I was showing you was something from the Dark Ages. Now this is Middle Ages. This is English Dominion, the English took over, and this was actually a dark age for Ireland when the English took over. Their real glorious time was the European Dark Ages. And again, different styles of windows. Here you have these sort of newer, rounder windows, and here you have these old, smaller, square windows. Look at another place called, yep, thumbs up, Glendalough, and actually that's the same. That's yeah, that is another style of Inca door. I'm not pointing to. I'm pointing to, yeah, Strange Rocks. Okay. Weird. It's just weird. They decided to make weird patterns in some of these rocks decorations. This is a tower, and it's a round tower. And you look at that door. It's Inca-like. You see? There we go. That speaks for itself. These are 1,000 years old, or over 1,000 years old, and it's wet as anything. I am absolutely soaking the camera. I even stopped working after too much.
Approaching the tower was like nothing else that I've really scouted before. As you ride along the roads, suddenly this little shape appears, and then it disappears. You get these green pastures, and then you're into this forest, and then suddenly you're there. The shock of it, this structure, it looks like it was something manufactured. It became the sort of the icon of the film. You see the tower, it represents Close Encounters. When we decided to use Devil's Tower, it heightened the creative and spiritual sense of the film, which led us to make it a much bigger film. Steven Spielberg is a very inspirational kind of director, as you guys probably know, but I worked with him when he was very young. When he got here, he was so taken by the possibilities of what this would do to his film. Steven said, "Oh yeah, this is it." Other mountains would have been a mountain. "Oh yeah, I've seen something like that." No one's ever seen anything like this before. So that in itself made the movie. You know, it's like you think you're smart when you're doing a film, and then you realize how lucky you were to pick something that was so right. You know, we just like the shape of it, and then we find out it has this incredible spiritual value. I've been fortunate to work on a lot of films and scout at a lot of places. I don't think there's any singular place like Devil's Tower. I mean, I've been to great cities, you know, Rome and Lisbon, and that's a different kind of experience. But the solitude of this rock, this incredible rock, I don't think you could just get it from looking at pictures. You have to come here.
Why should we always look at the fine print? Because the devil is in the details. Or in this case, right in the name. It's in our face, written on road signs and maps in bold print. It has become clear to me that there has been a coordinated effort by several groups in government to include the U.S. military, Forest Service, state parks, federal parks, and of course the politicians to rename many sacred and other sites of beauty, historical, or of prominence after the devil. It is my opinion they do this to honor their connection to said religious character, and they keep these names for almost 150 years against protest, with their only reasons being they estimate tourism would fall and so a loss of revenue, or they claim historical prominence. Hey, we've honored the devil this long, we can't stop now. And what of the historical prominence that came before the colonialists? And they do this while holding office and claiming to be Christians down at their church. Take, for instance, America's very first national monument they call the Devil's Tower. Now let's think, it's the late 1800s. We're all full of ourselves and consider this to be the greatest nation in history, supposedly being built by Christians. And we're going to name our first national monument. Let's get it right. We must put our best foot forward. Oh, hey, I know. How about the Devil's Tower? That's right, numero uno, right out of the gate. Bam! The Devil's Tower. Of course, it was not always called by this name. Natives had no knowledge of the devil until told of it by Christians. In fact, originally more than 24 native tribes, to include the Arapaho, Crow, Cheyenne, Kiowa, Lakota, and Shoshone had cultural and sacred ties to the monolith. They would converge for special days such as equinox and solstice for ceremonies. They lived in this region and they had their own names for the formation.
Yes. The risen Jesus.
Yes.
Lights go down, it's dark. The jungle is your head, can rule your heart. A feeling so much stronger than a thought. Your eyes are wide and through your soul. It can't be but your mind can wander. Hello, hello. I'm at a place called Vertigo. It's everything I wish I didn't know what to do. Give me something I can feel.
The risen Jesus.
Yes.
They know that they can dance, at least they know I can stand and beat, asking for the take, girl with bruising nails, Jesus round the neck, swinging to the music, swinging to the music, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Um, 2013, I'm doing a search on the internet. I see Alien Races book, the ARB or ARB. And I thought, oh, what is this? Something I've never seen before. So blindly, I just went to the heart of it, which was the interview that Dante gave. And in that interview, I was listening to it. I was just riveted to the story. And I remember, again, I had no experience whatsoever with Dante himself or any of his material. And I remember the story he had, and at one point, Dante just seemed like, pretty much a normal guy. And when he was being interviewed, I remember at one point in the interview, and the interviewer was saying, "Oh, was the book there? Was the book there?" And Dante didn't quite understand. Didn't quite at first didn't say that the book was gone. And when he said the book was gone, and the interviewer was like, okay, he was just, ready to say, okay, well, isn't that odd? Like a conspiracy, obviously, the book is missing. And Dante was just, he was just really casual, mellow about it, didn't really consider it to be foul play in any way. And that's what really kind of hooked me too, because he just seemed like, simple, and he didn't really, dare I say, naive. Oh, jeez, I'm the one who's naive, but and that was really kind of what hooked me. So I looked and I read the book again and again, and it just, it was amazing, and I couldn't get enough of it. So I looked up Dante's name, found his YouTube channel. I watched, I think, all the videos, and then it was gone. And luckily, I think I watched them all before it was gone. And then I didn't know what to do. And luckily I was able to find him again on a new channel. But something about the videos where it was unique, and it struck a chord in my soul where I just knew they were right. I knew what he was saying was truth. And after years and years of, moving through a swamp of misinformation for the most part, I felt like I finally found something that resonated with me on a deep level. So I just want to say one thing about what happened soon after that. It was Halloween, because we had a Halloween party here at my school, and it was like Halloween night or something, or close to, it was the day after or something. But I remember I found two video interviews of Dante just speaking. There were two 1 hour, episode 1 and episode 2. And I think it was a guy named Boris who put it up on YouTube. And I stumbled on it. I thought, oh, wow, this is great. And I immediately, I wasn't sure how to download stuff, but I immediately copied it onto my hard drive. So I had both of them. I was pretty, sorry. I'm going to use my hand a little bit here. So I was immediately, it's pretty dark now. It's getting darker out here. I was immediately enthralled watching Dante speak to the camera, and I could see the emotion, and he mentioned a number of things about the group that he was working with at the time that was called The Group. And he spoke of, I don't know if I should say it here, but a certain person who's well known, who was part of the group. Now that was the second video, I believe. The first video, okay, so I watched them, but I couldn't watch them with work and what have you. I saw a little bit, and so anyway, what happened was I went to access. Oh yeah, this is what happened. There was like maybe 100 views. It was up for like 7 or 10 days. It was like 100 views or something, and suddenly it was off. Boris removed him because someone told Boris to remove him. That Dante requested it or something like that. I saw. So I thought, oh man, okay. Well, I got him on my hard drive, and because I watched him on my hard drive, and I went. You know, first one was there. Okay, I saw that one. I went to the second one, and it was the little, you know, the picture, the number of megabytes, everything. When I hit it, there was nothing there. The file was gone or corrupt or whatever, and that really kind of freaked me out because I at the time I just thought it was removed from my hard drive because I watched it, or at least I'm pretty sure I watched it on my hard drive, you know. And the other one was fine, but the second one was just gone. And the second one Dante was talking about when he was, you know, 2, 3 in the morning with 1 or 2 people, I think, who requested to speak with them at their home. And at the end, one of the men he was speaking with, his eyes went completely black, and asked him, "Are you afraid?" I was like, whoa, you know, and but I wanted to hear it again because I was watching it, had distractions and work, and it was gone. It was gone. I thought, oh man, I really felt at the time like somebody took it off my hard drive, you know, and that somehow it got removed from my hard drive, and that like just shocked me to the core. And when I went to bed that night, I remembered a spontaneous, lucid past life, and that was the only past life where I knew my name because people were calling me that. And it was like I went to bed, and it was an entire life, or snippets. You know, I saw myself as a young man. I was looking through a reflective. It was, you know, hundreds of years ago. And I was like a guard, or maybe the king. I was the captain of the guards or something of that nature, because I remember my role. And anyway, there were some experiences that were that stood out in that lifetime, and I remember those. But I just remember seeing myself in what I was dressed in, and then people calling me by my name. I saw myself as an old man too. So anyway, it was very, very lucid, and that was the first time I've ever, you know, had that. And it felt like literally I was there in that past life. And when I woke up, it felt like I was gone for, you know, days or longer in some ways. So that was it. That whatever it was, it shocked me, or it shook me to the core, where I could spontaneously remember a past life. And what that exactly was, I have ideas about. But I'm going to stop there with that, because again, I'm kind of going off. But in essence, I don't know if that past life is connected with this, with all of you, with Dante, but the timing was definitely not a coincidence. Well, nothing is a coincidence, right? It's all connected. So, which gets me to where I'm going now is just, I was just pulled deeper and deeper by his videos. I should have, again, this is kind of spontaneous. I should have looked at my old emails, but I remember one of the first emails I sent, probably the first. When I spoke to Dante, he did contact me back right away, and at the time he was in Canada. It seemed that what I was seeing in the video was pulling me deeper and deeper, driving me deeper, and I didn't know where I was going, but I was growing, and in ways I never could imagine. And when Dante announced the group of 72, before the video came out, I have to be honest, I really felt with all of my being that I was going to be one of the 72. And I don't mean to sound pretentious about it, but I honestly felt, or I would have been shocked or surprised if I wasn't. And I don't know why I felt that fully. I just felt it. And I feel it deep inside my soul, even though my ego is still trying to get that under control. It's a long, long process. Meditation does help a lot. Then again, after that, there was a experience that was a watershed moment, where I had a very lucid, vision-like dream. But I'm not going to go into that story, but it because it's a long story, that's the main reason. And what this is coming to is those videos that Dante showed us, you know, many of them were opening up different parts of my mind, of my soul, of my memory. And when I did go back, again, now we're looking at 2016, when I did go back, again, it was a 10-year hiatus where I didn't go. So when I did go back, I remembered another life that that some of you were there, and I'm sorry. It was a breakthrough for me, and I wouldn't have been able to understand or remember and re-experience in some ways that particular life if it wasn't for Dante and him being patient and showing me so much, all of us so much, and to be part of this loving family of brothers and sisters, and to know who all of you were and still are in past lives. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that definitely has its challenges and its highs and lows, but it's a worthy cause. The cause. It's really the most important thing that we can do while we're here. I'm sorry to speak so much, but I felt that to give a background, not just of myself, but some of my experiences, would provide a better testimony to the type of man, type of being that Dante is. And I'll never be able to show my gratitude.
Then he looked at me and he asked me for the third time, "Are you serving the cause?" So I answered, "What cause? Whose cause?" Then he looked at me and he asked me for the third time, "Are you serving the cause?" So I answered, "What cause? Whose cause?"
Where I'm going here now is I just want to say that I think that sometimes we can live a whole life and not make much progress. We can live a whole life, and maybe out of that life we'd be lucky to have, a year, 6 months, a few months, maybe even, of actual progress, actual learning, knowledge, soul growth. But I will say that since I've met Dante, or since I've been part of this group and have known Dante, in the 5 years that I've encountered, since first encountering Dante and all of you, it's been 5 years has been like 1,000 when it comes to understanding. And I'm not talking about just knowledge, real truth, but I'm talking about growth in my soul. And with that growth, there's a lot of pollutants, there's a lot of dark impurities that are still there and that come forward. And I'm not afraid to encounter those and let them come forward. And, I think a key is having an equanimous mind where you can, just look objectively and let it arise and pass away. And getting ourselves closer to the goddess and for the cause. So I think I said enough, probably way too much, and I apologize for that. But I just want to say that I really, truly love all of you. And I'm so happy to be part of this family. I love you all.
Wish I was back in Texas. The ocean's no place for a squirrel. Wish I was in Texas, prettiest place in the world. Oh no, I guess that deep in my heart I'll always be a Texas girl. I wanna go home, home. Yodelay-o, 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 lay, lay. I wanna wake up in Texas. I miss those wide open skies. I miss my 20 acres, barbecues and pecan pies. Oh, why? When I'm so far from you, Texas, all I can do is cry. Yodelay-o, 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 lay, lay. I wanna go home, home.
I wanna go home.
Party like a Russian. End of discussion. Dance like you got concussion. Oh, put a doll inside a doll. Party like a Russian. Disco seduction.
Please choose between one of the following two options and someone will be with you shortly. Please choose between one of the following two options and someone will be with you shortly.